Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Advising on AI, Guiding Your Clients Through AI Challenges, James Gatto shares his final thoughts about working with AI while answering related questions from the audience. If you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
So with that, I know we covered a lot. I went through some of it kind of quickly, but there's a lot there. Feel free to reach out to me, connect on LinkedIn. We have a blog at AI Law and Policy that we cover a lot of these issues and provide a lot of useful information, some of the checklists that I mentioned, et cetera. So hopefully you all found this to be helpful, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
We can now go ahead and move on to our audience questions. So if you have any questions for James, please feel free to submit them through that Q&A button in the control panel at the bottom of your screen. Looks like we've already got a few. James, do you want to go ahead and select which ones you'd like to answer?
Sure. So the first one I saw pop up, it says, of the current litigation involving AI, are there any general takeaways or lessons for lawyers managing legal risks? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is what I covered today. If you're training AI, make sure you have a right to use the data, that you're not, using copyright protected information in a way that would constitute infringement. The open source code generators, that case that's pending, is to understand, when using it, if the output includes open source, you're going to have to manage that just like you manage other open source, but there's some other issues that go along with that. The definition, if you're, again, if you're developing or using tools, you have to check the outputs, right? So, if you're building a tool, you want to design it in a way that you do the best you can to make sure the outputs are accurate. But if you're using a tool, you cannot just rely on the output of one of these tools and assume it's accurate. So, you got to fact check it. So again, these are some of the things that people get baked into the policies. Is if you understand what these issues are in litigation, those are some of the things you definitely want to take into account in your policies to avoid situations where you just overlooked it and may have liability as a result. The indemnity is a really important issue as well. So, all the things we talked about would be kind of the key takeaways. Next question. What provision or issue raised via executive orders or legislation on AI would you say is of the most immediate concern for lawyers advising clients? Again, I'll try to answer this directly as possible. It really depends on what the client's doing and what their role is with AI, not to sound like a broken record. But what I would say is disclosure is a big thing. If you're using chatbots, if you're dealing with consumers, the disclosure and transparency is important. Second, the data issues, privacy, biometric privacy are focused there. As I mentioned, anything consumer related, anything impacting individuals. So whether it's consumers, patients, students, employees, any tools that are being used that could have an adverse impact on individuals, those are being highlighted in getting special protections. So those are, I'd say, some of the key areas. Next one, what specific steps should companies take to create an effective AI governance committee, and what roles should be represented on this committee? Again, it really depends on the company, but I really think that in the beginning, more representatives the better. I'll just go through kind of quickly. Obviously you want to have legal folks involved because there's legal issues. You want to have technical folks involved to be able to vet the tools from a technology perspective. Executives, I mean, if you're going to allocate money for training AI because there's a huge investment, you want to understand, make sure there's policies. You typically want to have executives involved to understand what the risks may be or how to ensure the risks are mitigated. Marketing, to the extent that companies are going to use AI, and a lot of them do, in connection with marketing, you want to make sure that they're involved and understand how they're going to use it so you can make sure the appropriate safeguards are put in place. Those are, I'd say, some of the key areas to think about. It can be, it can vary again depending what the company is doing. It certainly can involve many other companies. We see AI committees anywhere from 5 to 25 people right now. I mean, it just really varies significantly. What are some of the key challenges companies face when implementing AI governance structures, and how can legal counsel help navigate these challenges? Great question. I think probably the number one thing that I think is an issue is just a lack of understanding of the issues, which is why I think training is really important. There's a lot of people that are very smart technically or business savvy. Everyone has their skills. But I think really in order to have effective AI governance, you need to understand like how the tools can be used from a business perspective and the technology part of it. But you really need to have people understand the legal issues and the ramifications of what can go wrong, so that when you develop policies, there's an understanding of why these policies are here. There's a reason for them and they make sense, and we understand the risks we're mitigating. So there's both a training that we do of members of the governance committee, and many times there's a plan for rolling out employee training as well, so they understand the policy, the reasons and the issues and the ramifications of not following it. Okay. Next question. How do the current AI policies and legislation address ethical concerns, particularly around issues like bias, discrimination, and privacy? So all of those go into the topic I referred to as responsible AI. The White House executive order, I actually wrote a separate piece. If it's not linked in the materials I provided, feel free to email me. I'll send it to you. But I went through the White House executive order and pulled out all the different aspects that related to these topics, because there's a number of mandates in the White House executive order to different agencies, but all of those that are in that one article focus on the issues you ask in your question. And there was also, as I mentioned, there was the White House executive order mandated the creation of the AI Safety Institute, which is now set up, which I had a slide on that. And it also mandated that NIST update their AI guidance, which they have now done. There's 4 new documents that they've provided. So I would say it's pretty comprehensive in that there's a significant focus on it. And it's not just policy talk. And I think, kudos to the agencies for doing what they're doing, but they're producing useful documents that can help companies and lawyers navigate these issues. And it's not the job's not done. These tools continue to evolve. So this stuff will continue to evolve, but there's tangible results from the executive order on these topics already. How can companies develop role-based AI policies that ensure employees at all levels are compliant with AI regulations and ethical standards? I laugh at this because I deal with this with clients all the time. You can develop the best policy in the world. If your employees don't follow the policies, it's not going to help very much. So like any other policies that you have, whether they're HR policies or any other policy, it's going to vary a bit by company. But, you need to develop the policies. In my opinion, it's really good to have good training of employees to help them understand what the policies are and why they need to comply. And then you need to have some, enforcement mechanism. You need to have a way of checking if employees are complying, and some ramifications if they don't. I don't really know any other way to really do it other than that. But how you do that kind of varies by company. In some cases, like take like the AI code generators, like typically there's going to be, whether it's the CTO or someone, or it could be project leads that are responsible for ensuring that all the updated AI code generator policies are being met with respect to a particular product, or in some cases across the product. So I think, designating individuals for different parts of this is part of, the rule, but there needs to be something company-wide. I think these need to be mandated from the top down. These are not something, in many cases, are just coming from the legal department. This is company-wide policy, and is typically mandated from the top down. The next one is just a kind comment. Thank you very much. And then, how can companies balance innovation in AI with the need to comply with regulatory and ethical requirements without stifling technological development? That is the multi-million-dollar question. Look, I think that the issues that I touched on, kind of frame out a lot of the issues that are there, and the additional materials I provided. I think depending on what the kind of the nature of the tool is you want to develop, it's really important just to understand where are the minefields, right? If you're developing an HR tool, you got to understand what's the legislation, both existing and what's pending. So you can kind of build on what's coming, or how is, use of AI and employment decisions being regulated and going to be regulated. right? So part of it is just understanding the issues, and it's evolving, and that's why part of what we're doing a lot of these companies is there's ongoing training and updating so that they can be stay abreast of the issues and make changes as necessary. I know it's kind of a high level answer, but it starts with understanding the issues and then figuring out the best way to implement them based on the tools that you want to develop.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James, for that additional insight. And thank you all so much for submitting your questions.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more law practice and legal marketing videos. See you in our next clip.